Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence. Your contenders are proper difficult to lead of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money we put in the bank.
I've always said there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the cowards and the hypocrites, which I
no matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
From the lands across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-the-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that critical needs of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money in account.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
I will place economic stability and confidence.
To condemn this act, I thought that critical needs of this minister and the government.
Give us access to our money in account.
As always said, there are two sets of people, the oppressors and the oppressed, and in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians need now is not about the government. Who can come and salvage us from
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Joining me on Open Air this morning is Ugochukwu Ifeanyichukwu, a regular and a political analyst. Good morning, Ugochukwu, and welcome.
Good morning, Laurentia, and good morning, Rivers people, Nigerians. And today being a Sunday, I think the Nigerian situation will allow me to beam a smile because it has been hard times for Nigerians, and the economy is not smiling. But I can force a smile or happiness because today is in the Catholic world. Today is the final Sunday in the church's calendar, and the Christ the King. So I also pray that the coming of Christ, as we celebrate it today, will bring a positive turnaround in the Nigerian economy and in the lives of Nigerians going forward, Laurentia.
Okay, Ifeanyichukwu, how is the coming of Christ going to change Nigeria's economy?
Today, Nigerians,
yes.
Nigerians, those in the Catholic community will be rejoicing. There will be an atmosphere of that enthusiasm.
That's
and
Christmas celebration.
No, the Christ the King celebration is heralding Christ as a King of the universe, and it comes with a sort of a excitement, you know, that we've been here from the last Advent, which is the culmination to a Christmas time, and today it will be the last Sunday, like someone celebrating 1 year of a lifetime.
All right.
So there is a sense to this comic relief, you know, enthusiasm and hope. You know,
right.
yes,
probably hope.
Yes,
Probably
that it brings to the minds of average Christian Catholic.
All right, moving on. Court of Appeal in Abuja has reserved judgment in a case filed by Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara challenging a federal high court ruling that barred the Central Bank of Nigeria from releasing monthly allocations to the state. The initial ruling, delivered on October 30 by Justice Joyce Abdulmalik of the Federal High Court, faulted Governor Fubara for presenting the 2024 budget to a 4-member Rivers State House of Assembly. Justice Abdulmalik ruled that this action violated constitutional provisions and deemed the disbursement of monthly allocations by Fubara since January a breach of the Constitution. The ruling also issued an injunction restraining the CBN, the Accountant General of the Federation, Zenith Bank and Access Bank from granting Rivers State access to funds from the Consolidated Revenue and Federation accounts. During Friday's proceedings, a 3-month special panel led by Justice Hama Baka heard submissions from the parties involved. Fubara's appeal sought to overturn the lower court's decision and lift the restriction on state allocations. The panel also consolidated 5 related appeals stemming from the initial judgment. Justice Baka announced that the judgment will be reserved and communicated to all parties at a later date. Ugochukwu, what do you make of this development?
You know, the restriction of allocation to the Rivers State government is so one of those fallouts we expected to happen in Rivers State, and it has been long coming. It is not in doubt that this political quagmire will get to this length, you know. And also we have another leg that that the federal government is trying to play the motherly role. There have been counter statements and for and against whether the monies will be disbursed or not. But if we go by the letters of the law, it is a constitutional matter, because for a House of Assembly of 4 people, for a governor to present a state budget, you're not talking about constituency budget, you're talking about a state budget to a 4 persons constituted House of Assembly. It is an affront on the Nigerian law, on the Nigerian constitution, and all that. So, but Justice Joyce Abdul Malik took the bull by the horn by delivering a landmark judgment, which is in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. You know, when a House of Assembly cannot form a quorum of 2/3, they can do their legislative business. They can go there, and there are specific kind of laws and the kind of legislations they can do. But when it comes to any form of legislation that requires 2/3 majority for an approval, I mean, it should not be hard that in this 21st century, Nigerian constitution will still be upheld with sentiment, or will still be upheld by sentiment. Sentiment does not apply here, because we are talking about the rule of law. And you know that why people clamor for the democratic system of government is just because of the duties of the judicature, the legislature. Because if it's in a tyrannical form of government, or maybe a military form of government, or any other form of government for that matter, you will see that the judiciary is there, the executive is there. But once there is a military takeover, the first casualty is always the legislature, because they know that this is where the voice of the people are heard. That is what makes it a representational government, so to say. Because people from different constituencies, different wards, they elect people to represent their interests, those that they sent there to represent their interests and to voice out their concerns. So in anything the government is doing, for the people to be carried along, it is why the executive arm goes to the legislature to present their intention on their desire to carry out any project concerning the people. So that those people who are representing the people will look at it, what is the benefit of our people for so and so project. So when you talk about a budget lifetime of a state, and you are presenting it to 4-member house, it is an affront. And if you bring it home, you will now be asking yourself, the purported defection and the presentation, because let us not forget that this presentation was done to Amehule-led house, to Edison here. Edison here, who is now the chief of staff, the governor of Rivers State presented the budget of 2024 to Edison here. And Edison here, who has left the saddle, we have his own faction led by Oko Jumbo. So we are not talking about whether it is right or wrong that there was a defection or not, but the presentation of the budget came before the purported defection. So Martins Amehule going to the court, and the court granting Amehule the relief he has sought is in line, because there was no division in the House of Assembly, so to say, before the presentation of the said budget. So we should get this right. So Justice Abdul Malik was very apt in granting the prayers of Martin Samehule, and also the Justice Omotosho in his landmark judgment of January 2024 on January 2022, he said that the appropriation bill should be presented to Martin Samehule, and that the governor has no right whatsoever to, allot a sitting place for the House of Assembly, and that the governor has no right to meddle in the statutory allocations of the Rivers State House of Assembly. And the governor he also restrained the governor from further demolition of the house of the State House of Assembly. So all those things were embedded, and in the Constitution of Nigeria, as amended the Constitution of Nigeria, amended as of 1999, has already said all those things and stated it. The duties of the legislature, the duties of the executive, and this is what we are seeing in the landmark judgment of Justice Joyce Abdul Malik. Whether you are bringing in sentiment that Rivers State citizens will suffer lack of fund and there will be paucity of fund and all that, that is a secondary leg of it. Then who is to be blamed in this? The governor had an ample time to have presented the appropriation bill to the rightful house, led by Martin Samehule, because from December to January 2022 is not so long a time. And again, the appeal court reaffirmed the judgment of Motosho. And in the midwifing of the political crisis in Rivers State, the 8-point agenda of Mr. President also made mention of presentation of the budget to the House. So these are the three legs of it. So anybody who is bringing sentiment and who is bringing emotion into it is not doing the Constitution of Nigeria any good. That is my submission, Laurentia, because this issue now, people are farming the embers of sentiment, embers of bias, emotion, and all that. But have we looked at the letters of the law? And from when this issue started, did the governor have an ample time to make a U-turn? If he is the person who is priding himself as an ambassador of peace, as he's priding himself. So if the governor wanted peace, he should have, corrected this anomaly. What Rivers people are going through now is solely, caused by the governor's inaction and actions, because he has a multiple time, even when a political resolution was sought. This presentation of budget, I've said it time with a number that it is I see it as a political ritual. The papers you are laying down before the House of Assembly is not the money, it's not the physical cash.
Yeah, there are two.
You see, it's not the physical cash.
When you look at it, let me probably make a case for the governor to some extent, if I may play the devil's advocate now. Now, on one hand, the governor, if at the end of the day, judgment is passed by Supreme Court and the Martin Samehule faction is legitimized, or the Supreme Court declares them legitimate House of Assembly, then the governor, one would say the governor has committed an impeachable offense. It's gross misconduct. However, if on the other hand, the Supreme Court rules in favor of the governor, then the governor can be said to be safe at this point in time. But then, let's look at it this way with the current, what is obtainable right now in Rivers State. If the governor, now, let's say the governor already, to a large extent, according to Martin Samehule, led House of Assembly, the governor has committed gross misconduct, and they have written to the governor up to 2 times or more than that to present the budget to the Rivers State House of Assembly, and the governor has said he has derecognized them. Now, going by that action alone, one would say, okay, Martin Samehule, they have the locus to say, all right, this is gross misconduct and it's impeachable offense, yes? Now, let's say the governor decides to now present the budget to them. He can still be impeached by that action, because presenting the budget to them means that, one, he has accepted now that they are the authentic House of Assembly. Now, and he's presenting a budget that has almost expended its lifetime. So this is a situation where he will now walk into the lion's den with his eyes wide open. Do you understand? Because now he will be at the mercy of the Martin Samehule Rivers State House of Assembly. He will be at their mercy, because they can choose after he presents the budget to go ahead and impeach him, because he cannot defend spending up to that. The money has been expended. He cannot defend spending unapproved money from the budget. So now, anyhow you look at it, it's not going to favor the governor in a way. So is it not wise that he takes that decision and then probably leaves his fate in the hands of the Supreme Court?
You see, if you have listened to my analysis well, you will see that I said the governor had an ample opportunity. The courts have said, then there was also a political resolution mechanism put in place.
Which a lot of persons had concern, yes, that peace pact was not in the governor's favor.
It was in his favor, because his impeachment notice was withdrawn. And you know, the governor was at the verge of being impeached. So he is the greatest beneficiary of that particular peace pact. Even if it's one, there is a sense to, you have a lot of options, but one among the options is of greater value than the other 9. So if you were to be a wise person, you choose to go for the one that has the greater value, because the Shakespeare said that the greater light dim the less. If there is a candlelight here, and suddenly a light that illuminates the candlelight, you won't even feel that there was a candlelight. But if the illumination goes off, the candlelight becomes the light. So this is why the governor and his handlers, I continue to say it, are the people who don't want the governor's progress politically. The governor's progress is hinged on him learning by the ropes to be a politician. Governor Simlaye Fubara, with all due respect to him, don't want to become a politician. If you're a politician, there are windows that have been opened for you to cash in. Remember, the governor was priding himself as that, I have the red pen. Do you know what the red pen means? That I'm still in charge. Let me give you a stark example of what the governor and his handlers has failed to utilize politically. It is no longer alleged, or it is no longer them say in our local parlance, that President Olusegun Obasanjo, former, knelt before his own Vice President Atiku Abubakar to secure a second tenure. Do you know what that means? That is a wise politician. In the class of Nyesom Wike, that I can mention some names of some politicians in Rivers State that in Nyesom Wike that people thought they wouldn't see eyeball to eyeball, but today they are dining and whining. That is a political juggernaut. Politics is an interest-driven game. You are not dragging a land. You are not dragging wife and concubines, but you have an interest of where you are going. A politician always thinks ahead of time. Look at, we're in 2024, people are talking about 2027. This is a politician for you. They are always thinking, trying to know even the late Ifanyoba was thinking about becoming the governor, vying for the governorship seat of Anambra State.
Well, he never knew he would not be alive. The human nature is living with hope. Hope is futuristic. You not say, let me end it now. No, because I don't know what tomorrow will bring. Let me just relax and then feel what today brings. Before tomorrow, people get... Dangote was in this food and, what do you call it, household and in cement. But nobody knew that Dangote had been thinking of going into oil and gas. I'm shining all those who have been in that particular business sector. Today, he's a mega player in the world. When you talk about, oil and gas. So when you talk about politics,
yes.
When you talk about this politics, I'm bringing it home. And Obasanjo, who is a sitting president, and they were looking for something, and he knew that Atiku will become a clog. Let's not forget that Atiku won as a governor in Adamawa State. With all the parties that came together and formed PDP, Atiku was a major player because of the former Yar'Adua, not because of the former Yar'Adua dynasty, the Musa Yar'Adua senior. So he came with his camp and they formed PDP. At the end of the day, he was picked as the vice. At the time, he had the interest of becoming the president, and he knew he had the political clout more than Obasanjo. Obasanjo had to go and beg, knelt down before him to get what he wanted. When Obasanjo got into second term, what happened? He whittled down the powers of Atiku Abubakar, and even wrote a book that Atiku cannot even challenge in the courts today, and it had been Atiku's undoing. And anyway, Obasanjo had Atiku had a very slim opportunity of meeting Obasanjo. He became very happy that I have met with my uncle, because he knew that Obasanjo came, and the powers Atiku wield as a vice president in their first tenure. But immediately Obasanjo got into that second tenure, what became of Atiku? So the governor, Similaye Fubara of Rivers State, would have played by the wisdom of, and there is a local parlance in Owerri, accept that I'm your husband as a woman and go about and do what you want. But at the end of the day, you come back, this is the wife of Ugochukwu or so and so. But outside, you are the big woman. So he has failed to utilize that window of political opportunity, and he has shot himself on the foot. Today, he has nobody to blame. So you are talking about presentation or that he can be impeached and other. No. If Similaye Fubara has taken the opportunity presented by Mr. President, we will not be where we are in Rivers State today. Because remember that before the mediation of Mr. President, Omotosho's case is already out. Omotosho's case was on 22nd of January. When did the president intervene? Then the presentation of the budget in its entirety was even a flaw, because there has not been a defection or purported defection before you choose. And again, you made mention of the governor saying that he had derecognized Martin Samuel, who gave him that constitutional authority. The governor has no powers whatsoever inherent in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria by his oath of office, that he had the governor to derecognize somebody that he didn't appoint. He's not, the House of Assembly member is not his appointee. Right. The House of Assembly members are elected, and the elections conducted by INEC, so the governor was also elected by the majority of the constituents coming together in Rivers State to elect him. So he has no powers whatever to say that even from making that statement, it is also an impeachable offense. To say that someone who has gone through electioneering campaign, electioneering process, that you, by the word of mouth, derecognize. And when you talk about impeachment, it is not only Martin Samuel that have said it. The Apiko said it. The Justice Abdul Malik Joyce said it. So it is not the ways of... So the people who know the law has echoed what Martin Samuel was even writing to him in secret, in acknowledgement that this is a governor. Oh God, this thing you they do, see where you they go. It is a gross misconduct. It is an impeachable offense. We are not missing words in saying it. So whether the governor, whether the Supreme Court, because what the Supreme Court will be looking at, people are looking at purported defection as in your the question you asked me, you have also alluded to that, but I why I'm saying that the Supreme Court will look at the authenticity of the Martin Samuel when the budget was presented to the Senate here.
All right, very well defined. Let's not preempt what the Supreme Court would or would not do. But then moving on, State High Court sitting in Port Harcourt, Rivers State has issued an ex parte order mandating the All Progressive Congress to maintain the status quo in its ongoing congresses in the state. The order came after the party concluded its World Congress and was preparing for the local government and state congresses. The directive was following a suit filed by some members of the party, Okudili Ndike, Peace Oganu, and Samuel Uchebule, who said they were not issued forms despite paying for them. The party members named the APC and its national chairman, Alhaji Abdullahi Ganduje, as the first and second defendants. They demanded an order of interim injunction restraining the defendants and their privates from organizing the congresses. They also sought an order restraining the APC from accepting the World Congresses and from inaugurating them. The presiding judge, Justice G.V. Obomanu, ordered all parties involved in the matter to maintain the status quo pending the determination of the suits and adjourned to December 3. Ugochukwu, what do you make of these developments in Rivers State APC?
You know, I prayed when I was starting that I'll be able to force out smile or laughter because of the Nigerian condition of today. But when you are reading this particular statement, it is very hilarious that somebody will be going to court in a matter that concerns internal party affair. I don't know why Nigerian politicians, they don't learn. Nigerian politicians, or they have this, with all due respect, those lawyers that NJC are looking at for now. You know, even some
NJC,
senior
NJC is taking care of judges.
Those MBA is looking out for them now because how will you know a case?
When did the MBA start looking out for judges?
No, I mean for the lawyers that are taking these frivolous cases.
When did the MBA, is the NJC now that is
most lawyers are calling out their colleagues.
Well, the MBA has not done that yet.
No, they are calling out their colleagues for, you know, looking at cases that has no merit, and you're now collecting money and going to court. They have been doing that. Even human rights lawyers, all those other lawyers, and those even MBA as a body, at least I've had on 2 particular occasions that they frowned at it. Even in Rivers State here, they frowned at it. That when you look at the merit and the merits of law, that they are only now interested in the pecuniary gain that is inherent in the case. Some of them that have this conscience are speaking out. So when you look at a case, that you look at the merit and the merit of the case, and you still go ahead to file such case, and it becomes frivolous. That at the end of the day, the courts have even known the Constitution didn't give them any power to meddle in the affairs of a political party. That is why, if the politicians are learning what happened between Smart Adeyemi and the Yaya Bello, would have been a clear case. What brought about Yaya Bello? It was when the governorship candidate of PDP died. And his deputy, the flag bearer, was positioning himself as a person that would take over naturally. But what happened? There was a lacuna. And they went to court. The court also pushed it to the party that the party has the final say. Because they are the people who has the mandate to give it to whoever they want. Hence, an announcement has not been made. So, this is where it is. When you run to court and say the restraining order, are you restraining a political party from going ahead with repositioning their own, repositioning their party for future elections? Or is the person going to court now want to be higher than the supremacy of the party or the political party
members who have interest in running for positions pay for forms and not be issued those forms? Now, that is their grounds why they went to court in this instance. So why would you are, let's say you're a party member, you're a
Yes.
member of ABC party, and during their ward, local government and state congresses, you have an interest. You paid for the form, and you were not issued the forms, and the congresses were held. What would you do?
Yes, before I respond, when you want to make an allusion of a party I belong, even if it's
I said ABC.
AD or something, remove the
I said ABC,
I know, remove the A and C, leave the B.
Okay, B,
yes,
BFG.
Yes, BFG party. So when you say that it is, I don't know whether you have heard this word, at the discretion of the party. In River State here, it happened that, no, most times they refund those money. This is internal, that's why they call it internal party affair. We have had, even the primary election that was conducted, the local government election that was conducted in River State. We have had it on good authority that some people were refunded their money of expression of interest. That's why they call it, that they call it internal party. They do it as a family business. Look at, if this, we saw in River State, prior to 2023 general elections, that only one form was printed for all the political positions available. And everybody was relaxed. So,
yes, they welcome the judgment.
They are always moves. These people that went to court are moves. Don't forget that.
You can't make that allegation, genuinely.
You see,
that wouldn't be fair.
Well,
be fair.
Well, but those now that has gone to court to challenge, they are not being given their expression of interest form. And those that have aligned with the minds of Tony Okocha and the National, in my own thinking, it cannot be those that have aligned. It's also those that have affinity with the Emeka Beke-led faction, because they want to play the spoilers game, just to make sure that there is a delay what they want to do.
The interesting thing was that before the River State APC congresses, the other APC faction went to get a special order to stop that from happening, and then however, the Tony Okocha faction was able to appeal it. Appeal court waived it and told them to go ahead. And probably,
of course, that is what it should be, because the appeal court in stopping that ex parte order from having life is because they know it's an internal party affair. So when you talk about internal party affair, there is little or nothing that the courts can do in helping you out. Because unless there is a rejig in our electoral act and the constitution, then you'll be having that. That's why I say that most lawyers that take those cases to court know that they lack the locus. And when a case is lacking a locus, just like when you have seen what appeal court said in the case delivered, in the judgment delivered by Justice Lefu, as it concerns River State local government election. He said that they like the jurisdiction to hear it. And once a jurisdictional case issue comes up, the case is a nullity. Right. It has no grounds.
Right.
So for APC, what they are doing is that APC, River State faction that are loyal to Emeka Beke are just crying wolves where there is none. But at the end of the day, Tony Okocha, who has the backing of the National, and you know that the party belongs to the National, and whatever the party does within the locality or the state is something that coming from the National. So once the National have backed this man, they will go ahead and do what they will do, and they will be recognized by that whatever Congress he has will be endorsed by the National, and that seals it. It happened in River State here when the PDP had their own and the National welcomed it. Today they are still standing tall.
All right, very well. We'll go on a short break. When we come back, we'll continue with the show. Do not go away.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
And will place economic stability and confidence. The contenders are corporate critical needs of this minister and the
Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sides of people. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence. The contenders are corporate critical needs of this minister and the
Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sides of people. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence. The contenders are corporate critical needs of this minister and the
Give us access to our money in return.
As always said, there are two sides of people. The oppressors and the oppressed. And in between are the coward and the hypocrites. Which I
No matter how tough the challenge, how high the obstacles, we always overcome.
What Nigerians believe now is not about the company. Who can come and salvage us from where we are?
Representing people. Mr. President, my people are on the sea.
and will place economic stability and confidence. The contenders are corporate critical needs of this minister and the
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Enugu State government has offered to provide evidence of atrocities allegedly perpetrated in Southeast Nigeria by pro-Biafra agitator Simon Ekpa. The secretary to the state government, Chidiebere Onya, in a statement on Friday, said the arrest was in line with the demands of Governor Peter Mbah-led administration to finish authorities. Recall that Mr. Ekpa was arrested alongside 4 others on Thursday on suspicion of terrorist activities. The Finnish police said Mr. Ekpa has contributed to violence and crimes against civilians in southeastern Nigeria. A Nigerian Finnish citizen, Mr. Ekpa heads Autopilot, a faction of the indigenous people of Biafra. IPOB is a group leading agitation for an independent state of Biafra, which it once carved out from the southeast and some parts of the south-south Nigeria. Mr. Onya, a professor, said the Enugu state government has commended Finnish authorities for the arrest of Mr. Eba, who is based in Finland, a North European country. The SSG said the state government believes the pro-Biafra agitator is a common criminal, conman, and terrorist who has no interest of Igbo people at heart. The government also described Eba as a murderer and froster who delights in killing his people and living large off their misery, saying that Enugu State was ready and willing to provide evidence of Eba-sponsored atrocities against Ndibo to aid his trial and conviction, whether in Finland or Nigeria, he said in the statement. Ms. Onya said the Enugu State government was delighted with the arrest of Mr. Eba. Now, Ifani, what do you make of this story?
This is so hilarious for me. You know, Nigerian states always they are quick to take credit for what they never had a finger in or what they cannot control. I dismiss whatever statement that is turning out from the Nigerians from the Nigerian federal government or the Enugu state government as a mere rhetorics. Let me tell you, before Simon Eba, they didn't categorize him. They don't know that he's a human rights activist.
Ooh, Simon Eba.
Simon Eba, and he has also held, or he is also a member of one of the welfarian associations in the Finnish land, and he has held a position of trust in the local community where he resides. And he was poised to go into an election last year or this year, but has stepped it down for him to focus on his activism. Because what
when
he's
you say
doing,
his activism, what do you mean exactly?
his activism in the process of his acclaimed restoration of the Biafran state, because it is the Nigerian state that have provided a veritable land, a veritable ground for them, the likes of Eba, to function. Even that's why I said a few minutes ago that even the Nigerian government in the federal level and the one that Peter Mba is laying claim to, taking a glory of what he cannot do is what amuses me. Because they are the people that have provided the fertile ground for people down in the southeast to be listening to the characters of people like Eba. You remember that this same thing that made Nnamdi Kanu a hero. Nnamdi Kanu was doing his rhetorics and his activism on social media, and the Nigerian government made him what he is today. So the Nigerian government is only playing to the gallery because Eba said on the 2nd of December 2024 he was going to declare the restoration of the Republic of Biafra, also in another place. It's not even, so that's why when I look at those things, I find out that the Nigerian state, they have nothing to do. They are not even thinking of the welfare of the people that are here. How have they managed the insecurity situation bedeviling the people in the southeast? Can a few people that act on the pedestal of non-state actors overpower the people? Where are the vast lands in the east? Let's assume that Boko Haram festered because of the vast acres of land in the north. In Meduguri, what do they call it, Borno State, where they have Zambisa forest. In Niger State, where almost half of the state is non-inhabited. People can stay there and hibernate. Where are the lands? Where are the places that the Nigerian security forces cannot cover in the east? What has made the people of the east even be disillusioned in anything
concerning the Nigerian state. Before you have an interest to something that somebody is bringing on the table, you must have lost faith in her. If I don't have food and somebody brings something similar to food and offer me, why can't I take? The Nigerian state have an ample opportunity to right the wrongs meted out on the Easterners over the years. And they have failed. Remember that the Gowon administration had these 3 R's that they came out with. Which of them have been implemented faithfully and religiously or politically in the East? The only is this year that they gave us Southeast Development Commission. How has the other development commissions, even the DDC, worked in the Southeast? How has even those people who got the so-called development commission in other geopolitical zones, how has their own turned around the livelihood of the people in touching the lives of the people? That's the $1 question. So when the desirable is unavailable, the available becomes the desirable. When people we are talking about hope here, Laurentia. I've made a mention of hope. This is the 3rd time, and you alluded to it. Now, people are looking for a way out to have. Let us live this short life in a conducive atmosphere. That's what the people are looking for. The Nigerian state has. I was reading something this morning. I think I sent it to you. Somebody like Joe Ibokwe, who has been known to be a staunch supporter of Tinubu, today he's singing in another tone. What does that show you? That the government that should their primary responsibility is the welfare and security of the people have failed in both. People in Nigeria are hungry. People insecurity, even in River State here, places like Eche and Ogoni, people cannot go and harvest their crops. And there is anti-grazing law in place. Who is going to enforce the anti-grazing law to be effective? Is it not the government? Why will people not sleep with their 2 eyes open in a state that you say that is not occupied by any non-state actor? Those people who are perpetuating this kind of atrocities in the East, where are they coming from? Are they coming from the Blues? Or are they existing in the vacuum? You were here when Hope Uzodinma allowed Imo State to be a desolate state. Today, there was an accusation that Asari Dokubo was the person who was, when you hear about Eastern Security Network, the Imo State government is saying, it is not even the members of Imo State youth that are the members. They now employed some people from causing confusion everywhere. You now had an agreement with Asari Dokubo to provide you his security outfit to come and protect your state. Where we have Nigerian police, Nigerian army, Nigerian navy, everything in Nigeria is there. What they do is that last Sunday I said it here that the Nigerian police parked in front of AIT. And they were collecting money from people. Look at the Nigerian road from here to Enugu State, where the governor of Enugu State is making allusion, taking glory to what he did not do. Count the checking points from Aba to Enugu State. Count the checking points from Obibo, River State, to Aba here. Military people. Every territory pole is a military checking point. What are they doing? And in that particular space, attacks are going on. Policemen are being killed. Military checking points are being overrun. What is happening in Nigeria? Why can't we sit down and tell ourselves the truth? Is Simon Ekpa the problem of Nigeria? Is Simon Ekpa the cause of hunger in Nigeria? Is Simon Ekpa has become another Nnamdi Kanu that has caused Nigeria not to move forward? Is Simon Ekpa the cause of why the federal government is going to borrow $2.something billion to service a budget?
If I should hold on, let us look at, let's not go too far. Let's look at what is obtainable in Imo State, in Enugu State, Anambra State.
Yes.
Now, in trying to speak, you called him an activist.
Yes.
Because of his activism to liberate his people, Ndiboya, from the shackles of marginalization by the Nigerian government.
Subjugation and hegemony.
Has ended up impoverishing his people. And I'm talking about the so-called Igbo activists. Whether you call it Nnamdi Kanu or Simon Ekpa, however, whatever name they carry. Let's look at sit at home. There was a time, sit at home for an entire week. Sit at home. 3 days, sit at home. You look at, let me use Aba for example. Aba has a bubbling commercial life. The IGR of Aba is heavily dependent on buying and selling, commerce. Now, Aba, to a large extent, the IGR suffered hugely because in a month, sit at home, let's say 24 days minus Saturday, minus Sunday.
Yes.
Let's say we have 26 days in a month, from Monday to Saturday, that people go to the market to buy and to sell. And then during that period, there are days that for 2 weeks straight, sit at home. They will only give you a Monday. They will announce it there on Monday from so and so time to so and so time. People are allowed to go and stock up for food in the house because after Monday they'll be sit at home. Now, people who have emergencies cannot attend to emergencies. Burials were not done. Marriages were not. I can go on and on and on. Education inclusive. I recall a true life situation of what happened when that was in Anambra State, and the Anambra State governor, I think it was Obiano then, that insisted that schools must open, and schools opened. And these enforcers of sit at home went to schools, brought out teachers and students, videoed them, laid them down on the floor and flogged them and left deep wounds on these people, on children that want to go to school. You are fighting for the betterment of your people and you are turning them into illiterates. You're fighting for the betterment of your people and you're stopping them from growing economically. You're fighting for the betterment of your people, but you're denying development from them while you are living in the comfort of Finland or wherever these activists stay. Their children go to school, have access to the best of education, have access to the best of life, have freedom of movement. Can we talk about infringement on fundamental human rights? Freedom of movement is one of them. But where they are, their children, their families enjoy freedom of movement, freedom of association, freedom of, they have access to education, they have access to buy and sell, they have access to do business, do whatever it is they want to do. Now, you stay there at the comfort of wherever you are and impose a colonial master kind of, I'm trying to find the right word, on people, and you say you are fighting for them. Please, can you define activism for me again? Yeah, I think you need to define activism for me again. So why you are fighting the government, you are fighting marginalization of Ndibu, you have ended up being the dictator himself. Can we talk about how sit at home is being implemented? These people have ended up killing more of their own people than they can accuse any government of doing in the history of Igbo land. Should I go on and on to tell you how many youths have been killed in Olu, for example, in Imo State? How many people have been killed in Anambra State, Abia State, Enugu State, just for being on the road, for walking along the road during sit at home? Should I recall in Olu State, in Olu, a situation where a market was burnt down? Even in Anambra State one time when the governor insisted that the markets should open. And they burnt people's shops down because they dared open the shop and sit at home. Make it make sense to me, if I need to.
Can I?
Yes, go ahead.
It's good that you have illustrated all those things, and your question is also, I also understand it because you are also part of the maybe one or two people who hitherto would have been independent for their own, maybe we'll be also relying on you for assistance, one thing or the other. Or you are pained as a journalist who go for undercover reporting, and emotions will run.
No, hold on. No, hold on. Ifeanyi, you can address this issue without making allusions or speaking under assumption. I am not pained. 1, I'm not an undercover journalist. 2, and I have not at any point said that anybody in all the states are depending on me to survive because of the sit-at-home situation. And that is not true. But what I am looking at is the actions of the so-called people you call activists, the repercussions and the consequences of their actions on the people they claim they are protecting and they are fighting for.
I understand better.
So while you are, you are praising them, and you're trying to x-ray the actions and inactions of the government and how it has affected the Southeasterners, let us also look at the so-called activists, their action. Which one has caused more damage, by the way?
Okay, so when you weigh things on the weighing balance, you begin to see the pros and the cons. What led the crisis to be where it is? I still push it to the doorstep of the Nigerian government or the Nigerian state. We are talking about closure of market and sit at home. Those activists, before they begin their activism, they make wide consultations and they also read through the history. And you believe me that even in the United Nations Charter, the African Charter, which Nigeria, they are signatory to, when I was in Malaysia, I went for studies, and the police can come to your house and break your door open and make an arrest. You can't report them to the United Nations Human Rights because they are not a signature to it. So most of the things people do, you go where, that's why Abike Erewa Dabria will advise Nigerians, go where your rights are protected, so that when something happens, you can cry out to the international community and they can come in with that charter you signed or you're signatory to. When the
military just went in and killed.
No, I mean when protest wants to happen.
Was it a reprisal?
I'm not talking about reprisal attack.
What I'm military men killed.
No, what I'm talking about when people are protesting.
Hold on, I'm very particular on giving factual statements. When you are saying something, say the entire truth, so that people have a clear picture of what has happened, and they can make their own decisions or their informed opinion. Yes, but when you leave out a section and present a section, that truth is half truth. Number one, it will give people its missing
protests, and people were killed, and in that instance, people also revolted, which led to the loss of life of some military men before they came before there was a reprisal by them. So that's a picture of what's happened in Obi, where everybody knows that.
And knowing that the governor, the sitting governor at that time, had said that IPOB and its movement was not welcome in Rivers State. Obibo is a part of Rivers State. And the people living in Rivers State are bound by the laws, by the rules. That's the thing. And isn't this part of the reason why when people come out to say, or when IPOB comes under attack, they are being attacked from the point of rebellion? Now, a state says this activity is not welcome in this state. Whatever you're doing, do not do that in this state. However, Obibo, that is predominantly it's predominantly Igbos. In fact, let's say it's an Igbo local government area. Do you understand? Insisted on rebelling against a sitting government.
That is,
This is where the background of this story started.
I know. That is why you call it agitation, because wherever the people are, if you go to overseas, Igbo people still meet. They still have their family meetings. So there is no way you can. No, I'm taking it.
Has the governor ever said that Igbos, the governor,
no,
did he say Igbos cannot meet?
Listen,
they cannot socialize.
Let me land. What I'm saying is that for that agitation to have also gone on, irrespective of the laws of the River State, is because you call it an agitation, and wherever the people are, you can also see that spirit of agitation or whatever their leanings are. People fail the law. People deliberately fail the law. I give you a quick example. When I was in the seminary, they did a road path from the hostel to the class block. It's not far, but one of our new student affairs dean came and said that we should not be following the shortcut, that we will follow through the main entrance facing the administrative block. So people were like, in the seminary, you have to obey the law. So I was coming out and people were following through that long route. I asked them, what happened now? They say, our father said that we should not follow this shortcut again. Look at my classroom. Look at the where I'm coming from, and look at the place I will trek and go around and start coming in. My dear Laurentia, I took the shortcut, and they wrote my name. So after school, in the chapel after afternoon prayers, my name was called Ugochukwu. After the prayers, I sat back, and they said that the priest is calling me. So I went. He said, Ugochukwu, why did you follow? I said, Father, laws are meant to be broken. That somebody must break the law. If everybody keeps that law, it's no longer a law. Somebody must. So that is where I now.
In this instance, you should also know
I was also punished.
I was coming to that.
Yes.
When you say laws are meant to be broken, then he who does the crime should do the time.
Yes.
Because when you break the law, there should be consequences.
There's
so now, when the
attached to the law.
consequences come, it will not be fair to start crying foul.
No, it is not.
But you broke the law.
Yes, but you don't remove.
In this instance, that the sitting governor then barred every form of agitation.
Yes.
Said they don't want it. It
I
not
understand.
Happen. Now, yes, one could, if you're solely moved, like you're so bothered about it, there are so many ways you can go about it.
Of course.
I mean,
of course.
They could have done a press conference, telling that, okay, we cannot, because of restrictions from the government, this is our way of supporting our brothers wherever they are. Or there is still freedom of movement. Travel before they sit at home. Go and sit at home with them and stop doing business. And then following the agitation.
Yes, which they had they had options.
But went ahead to break the law.
They had options.
So now,
what they would do.
When you look at all these things critically, I like being very, I don't know, but I am not very sentimental about issues, because I look at them critically as they are and say them as they are, so that people will learn the truth, and then people that are erring will know how to go about it. Because Catalonia got their independence after a while. They suffered marginalization. But that independence, Catalonia achieved that independence without one drop of blood.
You cannot say that for sure.
Now, go through the history.
Because wherever I know agitations have happened, they suffer different forms of.
Before you come out to say you don't agree, speak from a point of knowledge.
I will do that.
Go back and check. I'm speaking on national television. There are so many ways agitation could happen.
Of course.
Boycotting could have happened.
Sit at home is part of it too.
I remember one time when, these conversations were going on. A lot of people were saying a lot of things. I said, but you still use Nigerian Naira. You still elect your people into elective positions at the federal level. You still engage fully in everything Nigeria.
We don't talk about election because
No.
if you're talking about election, you talk about the percentage of people that elect.
Hold on. You still hold elections. You engage INEC. You do all forms of things. And while you're doing all that, you're saying I'm not a Nigerian. Make it make sense to
Can
me.
I? Yes.
Now, when you say sit at home is a form of agitation, I ask you, and I will ask you again, make it make sense to me how an activist who is outside the shores of the country with his family together with him enjoying all forms of fundamental human rights, having access to education, having access to good roads, schools, and all of that, will now stay where he is from the comfort of his house and shut down the economy of states. Cripple the economy of states.
You are coming to what I said before.
Cripple the income of the people he claims he's fighting for.
I will make
Impoverish the people he says he's fighting for. Actually have a militant wing that kills and maims in the name of enforcing sit-at-home. So can we be realistic about this situation?
You see
Make
what
it make sense to me. And you sit down there and you say this person, Simon Ekpa in this instance, because we're discussing Simon Ekpa, is an activist.
Yes. If you place it side by side, Simon Ekpa is an activist.
Make it make sense to me.
So when you
ever recall Ndibo at any point in time coming out to say that they are tired of sit-at-home? Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay. Continue.
So now
I just asked you that question.
You now find out
Continue.
that I still push it back to the Nigerian state. The Nigerian state gave the environment for those things to fester. Why? Somebody that have lost hope. Let us take SMEs. Let us take, we have had money, traders money. We have had the one they call this e-job, or there's something they floated the other time where youths work. Nigeria has turned out so many policies to better the lot of Nigerians. You were here when the Hadiza was the minister of humanitarian affairs. How much was given? How much was expended? Where did it touch the life of children that were in primary school in Nigeria? So those things have made people lukewarm. That whatever you now come to subsidize them with and has a glimpse of hope and the light at the end of the tunnel, people will embrace it. Hook, line, and sinker. Because I have been in a church where the IPOB, the normal Igbo Republican nature, where if they want to pass a message, they go through a time crier, they go through the churches and their community meetings and pass the circular. I'm telling you that they read those messages in the churches and say, conscientizing. I mean, when the sit-at-home started, they go and say, okay, this is why we are doing sit-at-home. Their orientational mechanism is better than the Nigerian orientational agency, where they go and tell people this is why. Before you could tell an Igbo man to close his shop on a particular day, you could remember that sometimes even now the candidate is going to the court. They say, okay, let us honor this day that he's going to court.
That was actually how sit-at-home started.
Yes.
So don't say
no,
when
that is what
sit-at-home started. Hold on. Sit-at-home started in solidarity of Nnamdi Kanu. Any day Nnamdi Kanu used to go to court, Igbos in all eastern states will sit at home. Even some Igbos in other states, in the north, south, and all that, choose to quietly close their shops and not go to, and not engage in any commercial activities on that day. Sit at home started the absoluteness of his power that he could wield at that point. The fact that he probably was intoxicating at some point, because the sit at home went from once, whenever Nnamdi Kanu was now going to court, it will now extend to weeks. I remember vividly a sit at home that happened for over 2 weeks. And at that point, I was like, how are these people sitting at home for 2 weeks, Schools were not open, banks were not open, shops were shut down, people were dying in their homes because they had emergency, but they were too scared to enter the road. Women were giving birth in their homes. Wherever you are, and that night comes upon you, you will remain there. If you're in the bush, you remain in the bush till whenever one man, and you call him an activist.
Well, it is not the action of one man, because when somebody is doing something and people aligns to the person's ideology,
I asked you a question.
Yes.
Did Ndibo at some point say we are tired of sit at home?
Yes, it happened.
Was there ever a time that sit at home will be announced and the Igbos will forcefully go into the markets and open their shops and children will go to school? Has it ever happened?
It has happened.
So how come you're saying that they are now aligned when they're already tired?
Let me tell you. That IPOB, this Simon Ekpa led IPOB is a faction of the IPOB of Nnamdi Kanu. Nnamdi Kanu's own also came out from Mosob, which Raf Wazirike was the arrowhead. So these are different agitational
movement for the that's Ogoni people.
No, I say no. The Biafran Mosob.
Okay, no Mosob.
The Nigerian, the Biafran now. So these are factions, and once a group is factionalized, ideologies are the same. They are working towards the same goal. Let me tell you, this particular Simon Ekpa, cashed in on the sit at home declared by the mainstream IPOB. Even this, you are saying that sit at home started when Nnamdi Kanu was no. It was when it was the Nigerian state was using violence to quell the peaceful protest. We install an administrator, and if an administrator comes in, they said it will be of enforcing. You don't enforce somebody, just like when you say there will be a protest in Nigeria, like the one embarked government, they say you don't, because of your protest, inhibit other people from carrying out their activities if they so wish. So, but sit at home is a legitimate form of people voicing out their concerns, and the only way you can make your voices be heard is when you take a stand that will make the world hear your voice. Right. So in this particular instance, Ekpa is not in Nigeria. It is not all people who are doing agitation for self-determination that stays within the place they are doing.
Is this sit at home coerced? Or is
of course, I've said it.
Is it by coercion or is it voluntary?
No, but I've said it now. No, if you had listened to me, if you had listened to me, I said that
way the people voice.
I have also said that you don't need
coercion or voluntary.
If you had listened to me, I said that you cannot also enforce somebody against his will to join in what you're doing.
You're just speaking.
No, it is.
I need you to either refute it or agree with me that the current sit at home going on in southeastern states, is it voluntary right now or is it coerced?
No, as it is now. Hence the mainstream, because the people I am listening to is the mainstream IPOB led by Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. Then what the way that Simon Ekpa, don't forget that this coercity of sitting at home came in his saying that, in Simon Ekpa saying that Nnamdi Kanu must be released before so he now his faction had to hijack the legitimacy of sitting at home. His own is now being coerced.
He's coerced.
He's coerced because of the force that he's using.
You have already,
the way that he's doing it.
Don't bother.
You understand?
You have already like answered.
Yes.
The thing is, listen,
he's coercing people.
The enforcement of sit at home is crippling people's businesses to protest, and in the same vein is contravening the Constitution. Murder. I think the sentence for murder is death. I cannot begin to count the number of persons that have died.
But you cannot pin it to Simon Ekpa. You can't pin it to him.
In the process of this sit-at, You have the ESN. Now, unknown government have joined. IPOB on one hand, 5 in one state. And you know the thing is that the insecurity in southeastern states is not getting as much traction in the media as it should, because everybody is focusing on Boko Haram, everybody is focusing on Lakuwara and all of that. But nobody is seeing the fact that
because they see it is self-inflicted.
There is an ethnic cleansing.
Coloration to it.
No, there is an ethnic cleansing. It's genocidal. That is what is going on in southeastern states, and it's not being covered. In Olu, for example, you literally will not see youths in Olu. You literally will not see youths in Olu. Anyone you see, I mean, they've taken sides. I am not even looking at the role that Opus Odema has.
It is not, because the people.
Okay, it's not self-inflicted.
No, it's self-inflicted, but it's not. The federal government is also within their rights.
By who?
No,
that's the arrowheads of this issue.
That is what the Nigerian state is thinking.
The activists.
You understand?
The activists are the arrowhead of this self-inflicted.
They are also Igbos.
Self-inflicted.
No. They are also Igbos.
And then how come they are activists?
They are also Igbos.
How come they are activists?
No, see, activism will not only be to the tune of how you want activism to be played out.
Really?
Of course. Activism cannot be what in the maybe what you say. This one is a human rights activist. This one is a child activist. Activism to the self-determination. You see what your people are passing through, and you said, okay, let us use this means. Then, in trying to use the means, you are now turning it as to be an enigma. No. That is what they are turning it to be.
This coercion. And you sit down here and tell me, Ogu Laurentia, and you tell Nigerians and the international community, you are saying that activism takes different shapes, different forms. But you are an